on, everybody. Welcome to episode 338 of FloWrestling Radio Live. I'm your host, Christian Piles, joined as always by front and center himself, Willie Saylor. There he is. From Easton, Pennsylvania, rocking a Pennsylvania University shirt. To my right.
We went Ivy today?
We went Ivy, the Holly and the Ivy. I believe it's a classic Christmas song. To my right, Daniel Roy Lobdell Jr., the wrestling nomad. To my left, Stephen Kyle Bradke. A lot of fake names on the show. Willie's name's not really Willie. It's William. I'm the only one that goes by his actual name. Nomad, Kyle. I just now realized that.
I just call you Chris.
Chris.
Sometimes he goes by Liam.
No, okay. All right, we're going to keep it moving. We're going to keep it moving already. We're already off the rails, 42 seconds into the show, new world record. Okay, so we had a pretty saucy weekend in wrestling, as is the norm. Many things happening. We had the Ironman. Those were great. Willie was there on location for what seemed like a very good Ironman. For me, Ryan Anderson, the talk of the town, the pride of the 610. And his physique, no.
He's from Jersey.
He's from Jersey?
Yeah.
But he wrestles it, but he has to live there now.
Nah.
Well, you didn't really live in the Easton district, so.
Yes, I did.
No, you didn't. You were Wilson.
No. I lived in Easton when I went to Wilson.
Oh, okay.
That's correct.
Backwards. Okay, got it. So I think we can start with Iron Man safely. Willie, big takeaways, big thoughts. Ryan Anderson giving hope to dad bods world all the world over that you can have athletic greatness.
Amazing. When is the last time? When is the last time we saw a middleweight, a non-heavyweight with a physique like that?
It was so funny. Kyle Bradke and I were talking about this, and I was like,
Liam.
I was like, Liam. I was like, we've never seen a middleweight like this before. And Bradke goes, and we never will again.
There's no way.
Well, I mean, the kid is good. He's always been good. I remember the first time seeing him, I think, was at Beast of the East his freshman year, or maybe Ironman. I specifically remember watching him at Beast in the East, and I'm like, there's something here. There's something here with this kid. He fights hard. And he's always been solid, not spectacular. Like, he doesn't put up a whole lot of points, but he grinds hard, and he wrestles through positions. And he also eats, like, sheet cakes, like full sheet cakes.
Wrestles hard. Hey, man, you know what I like about Anderson? Wrestles hard, great in position, eats entire sheet cakes.
Willie, tell the Super 32 story. He took injury time, pounded Mountain Dew, and then finished the match, right?
That was incredible.
Yeah, I mean, words can't describe the look on his face or my face when I saw what was happening, but I mean, he was thinking about taking injury time, and this is a very relevant point. Okay, so he has this look on his face as he goes out of bounds. He's winning a big match. It's like quarterfinals, and he has this look on his face as if he's going to take injury time. Now, his coaches and his corner, which half his high school team was there, he starts holding his knee, and they all knew that he was thinking about taking an injury time out. And he's sitting on his butt, and the whole corner is like, no, you're not. You don't take injury time out. You get your butt up and you wrestle. And the referee's like, do you want injury time? Do you want injury time? And Anderson's like, I might, right? But one of his kids in his corner goes like this, with a Mountain Dew. And Anderson's eye is real big, like a kid on Christmas. And he reaches out and he grabs it and he puts it in his mouth and he even squeezes it so it goes in his gullet faster. And he chugs it. He stands up. He slams it. He smacks his face. And he goes out and he wins the match.
Oh, my gosh.
So
how do we not do a flow film on this kid immediately?
The relevant point about that is he was out of shape at Super 32. And he had moved up.
I'm scared of what out of shape Ryan Anderson looks like.
Okay, you're right, but he was he was up at 152. Classic Ryan Anderson story. Super 32 the year before
He always registers like 3 weights below what he wrestles.
Yeah, he was registered at 26. He went up to 138 and won the damn thing. Who moves up 2 weight classes and still wins it?
Super 32.
Right. So
we'll never see this again.
Right. Whenever you look at kids through the college prospect lens, it's like, man, I don't like kids that take injury timeouts and stuff like that. But for Anderson, it clearly was a case where that wasn't his character. He was just out of shape because the night and day between taking a lunger at Super 32 and what he did in the Super 30 or in the Ironman finals couldn't be more night and day, right?
Right. So, I mean, we got an FRL question about this guy. And I think it kind of segues to our next thing with Ryan. Ryan Anderson carries around a little extra weight. Do you think it's possible to be successful at the next level with his current physique? Very tough question, because I would say it's not possible for him to have this level of success at this level, at the high school level. So I have no idea what it means for the Division
we
I
haven't
level.
seen it, right?
I've never seen this. I've never seen.
I walked in. Kevin Dressler was there, and he's like, "Hey, Willie, you're kind of built like Ryan Anderson."
I'm not sure who should be more upset. No, it's Ryan Anderson. Ryan Anderson should be more upset.
Yeah, right. And Anderson's fun with it, right? I tweeted Anderson might be the best 125-pound prospect in America, and he liked it. So,
he's like, maybe.
The kid's funny. And I've always thought, he gets in a college program and he's he's sticking to a regimen, and coaches have him on a plan, and he's accountable. He'll be good. He'll be fine. I think he's a 41. Clearly,
he does wrestle with heart. He wrestles. I mean, he's clearly very strong. He moved Abbas all over the place. Abbas couldn't stay. Abbas wasn't trying to stall. It was kind of like a date and fix thing. Like, you're just getting moved where you don't want to go because this guy is a force of nature. So yeah, I think, man, maybe he's a little bit of a gamble at the next level, but I'd be certainly excited if he was coming to my wrestling team. I think he's going to do really well. If he loves wrestling, I think he'll get it together. I texted not another. That makes it sound like I'm a D1 coach. I texted the D1 coach. I'm like, explain Ryan Anderson to me, and he just goes, no one can. That's all he said back. No one can.
What does Dresser think about him? Like, what?
I
know, but did he talk about like what weight he sees him at or anything like that?
I'm pretty sure he said 41, and he said,
Yep.
He said we'll get him when he gets in shape, when he gets on a schedule, he'll be good. And that's what I've always thought personally about him.
What if he's like Chuck Liddell, could just always have a little something. Yeah.
At least Chuck Liddell was big. Like, he's like 200-pound guy.
Yeah.
And like,
but he still always had a little
something.
Yeah.
last year, he wrestled Abbas in Super 32 finals, and it went into Rideout. It was 3-2, ultimate tiebreaker. And this time, he beat him up and down the mat.
He worked him.
Like, so he's clearly still getting better, too.
Yeah.
Which, yeah.
That was a good weight. I really like that weight. I didn't think he was going to win just because I'm like, come on, man.
Andonian was in there.
Andonian,
really good weight.
Andonian lost to Abbas again. Who Anderson had someone good in the semis.
Abbott, I don't know if it's...
Or Anderson had someone good in the semis. Who was
Anderson had...
Benjels, I think.
Young... he had young but large Travis Mastro.
Mm-hmm. Young but large, of course.
Mastro's going down to 38, by the way.
Told you.
So they're just squeezing all the seniors out of their lineup, huh?
Well, Madera's hurt.
Oh, I didn't know Madera got hurt.
Yeah, I knew that too.
So who's going to be there 45?
They don't know yet.
Bring Willie Kaiser back.
Okay.
Maybe in Contreras.
Okay. So any other Ironman thoughts before we move on to other topics?
I'm interested in your thoughts on Birchmeier. Did you see Birchmeier?
No.
You can probably see him from where you're at right now, like physically, because he's about 6'4". Listen, I was calling the quarterfinals, and Birchmeyer had already wrestled his quarterfinal and came over to like scout the guy, the matchup that he was going to have in the semis. And I had never really seen Birchmeyer before, but he has his straps pulled down. He's on the side of the thing, and I'm like, no, he can't. He's not allowed to wrestle in high school. He is a specimen, dude. He's a hoss. But he lost 6-0 to Colton Schultz. Probably should have had a takedown in the first period. Scoreless first period. Lost to Schultz 6-0. Didn't give up a takedown. It was work from top. And
Schultz is really good on top.
Yeah, so
pretty underrated.
I think he's probably sort of a raw prospect. Broad Run, Virginia. Christian, is that in the middle of nowhere?
No, I don't think so. I think it's. I'll just look it up right now.
Loudoun County.
Oh yeah, Northern Virginia.
So, but anyway, I don't think he's had the high level training for a long time that other people have had, and I just think he's another interesting cog in the wrestlers at heavyweight that came out this year and last year. I mean, the heavyweight crop coming is going to be pretty deep, full of talent.
Yeah, exciting times for heavyweights. Yeah, I'm looking at this kid now. He's sizable. Okay. I liked, this Van Ness guy. Speaking of things you don't really see, goes from backup, then wins. How much was he on your radar coming into Super 32 even? Like maybe you knew he was a good backup, but what else did you know?
This is what I knew. I knew that he was like on the junior high big board, had a good junior high career. But obviously didn't make the starting lineup. I had coaches that he went to camps, D1 college coaches, say, yeah, Van Ness is good. I had him tell me that before Super 32, before he did anything. So I knew there was probably something there, but it's hard. He didn't wrestle last year, really. So, also consider this, Christian. He lost his wrestle-off to Kolioko.
So he would be down, you think?
He would be at 26. He wrestled Kolioko off for 26. They went 2-1.
Oh
Kolioko,
my gosh.
I think Van Ness won the first one. First or second, obviously. Because math.
Yeah, because math. All right. So that was that.
Liam, what does Liam think about it? What were your thoughts? I know you love Ironman.
You screwed that up.
Yeah, Liam is Willie.
Yes. You're Liam.
Liam is me?
Yes. Liam is the name that is short for William.
No. Kyle, what did you think?
What I think of Iron Man?
One thing. Give me one thing that you were like, that's cool. He's good.
The biggest takeaway I had was Anderson. I did not expect him to dominate Abbas like that. I've never seen... Like, we saw Abbas get beat by O'Toole, but it was in a completely different manner. He couldn't do anything. That was my biggest takeaway, honestly.
What did you guys think, either of that match or overall the stuff that you saw, the other matches you saw Ironman on the way stall calls were called?
Well, I thought there it was great. I like that. I'm always going to skew. Now I'm going to complain about some stall calls at the from Bedlam, and we'll get to that. But I like the stalls were coming early. That's what I like. Get them coming early. And I thought they were pretty consistent. The guy's not staying on the mat and wrestle. And especially at Ironman where like the boundary is such a thing and the mats are so small. I think in order to keep action happening, you need almost like a little more skewed towards stalling calls in that environment.
Yeah, I really enjoyed the stall calls in the finals. They were much more... They were liberal. And you know what? They were consistent. They were consistent by individual ref. Like an individual ref would call it this way, and he would keep calling it this way. Now the next match, you'd have a new set of refs, and they might call a little different. But they called it consistent, and they called it liberally, and they called it often. And Kevin Linick, who was the official in that match, he's one of the best, and that's why they gave him the last match of the night. So
He was at CKLV. He does college stuff.
he's good.
Could use him in the Olympics in 2016 too. All right. So why don't we go? Bedlam's on my mind. I'd like to talk about it a
Let's
little
talk
bit.
about Bedlam.
I'm not sure. It was on ESPN Plus, so I'm not sure if everyone was able to watch it, but I was, and had a couple thoughts. One, let's start with the match we knew was going to be awesome and was awesome. Dom Demas versus Cade Brock. You just know there's going to be some craziness here, right? And sure enough, right away, Dom Demas goes for like an inside trip and then ends up stepping. I wouldn't even call it an outside trip. I don't even know what you would call it. Someone better, maybe Mike now would have it. But he steps on to the other foot and throws him to his back right away. Then they have another upper body exchange that Demas wins. And then Brock's kind of coming back, and he gives up a penalty point because he double-legged him after the buzzer. And then Cade hits an inside trip to tie it, and then Demas gets away at the last second. Very exciting match. I don't know if you were able to watch it yet, Willie, but it was an awesome match. And a couple of things that stood out to me was Demas did a great job in the hand fight of preventing Cade from getting to his stuff. He wasn't able to. He was getting to elbows, but he wasn't able to convert much. He wasn't able to get to legs from it, and there really wasn't a second pitch coming from Cade Brock at that point. So that was pretty telling, but I still think that, moving forward, next crack, kind of like Montori Bridges type of situation, even though a very different match, you kind of favor Cade moving forward. But in this one, Demas had a good plan. He executed. I thought he looked really, really good. And Dom Demas kind of the one, and what kind of leads me to another topic I want to get into, maybe not just yet, is just like kind of the one bright, shining thing for Oklahoma right now, who's really coming on, having a pretty tough time still with Coach Roselli. But maybe back to Brock Demas before we get into that.
Demas has a whole arsenal of skills. At some point, though, my nephew wrestles, and he sometimes goes leg attacks, and sometimes he goes upper body, and like part of me thinks that part of what I notice is like I don't know if he knows his identity.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if he knows what he is, and I never thought about Cade Brock that way, but because he's been successful and doing all kinds of things, but at some point, do you stop going upper body? I mean, it gets him in the hot water a lot.
Yeah. Well, I think if I had to say, hey, what's Cade Brock's identity? It's elbow control, leg attacks. That's his identity. But he's not been. He is so much faster and slicker than these guys, but he just doesn't create enough flurries to put himself in position to score enough. And yeah, you might be right. It may be, but it's the guy pinned Cody Brewer in his first match ever, an inside trip. It's like, how do you?
Well, in this match, I felt like it was Demas forcing Cade to go upper body. He was the one forcing the action there. So it wasn't like Cade was going out and trying to get in those positions. It was just kind of like, this guy's putting me here, and he just reverts back to what he knows.
Right.
Yeah, very
Or
true.
what he's good
You know what? Tying in that with one last thing from the Ironman, like Demas is always like Reese Whitcraft. He just got the underhooks whenever he wanted to.
Yes.
Right, and that's kind of how Demas just puts you there.
Right, and then, Demas, a great Greco wrestler. The ability to control where the match is taking place is something that you see with some Greco guys. I remember when the crazy Peter Nagy win over Mark Hall in freestyle. It's like, how does this happen? Well, insanely good Greco guy, good hand fighter, just controlled where the match was, and Mark just couldn't get it going. But you would never kind of long-term pick Mark Hall to lose to Peter Nagy, but that time it really mattered, and it's up to Cade to make the adjustments, and I think he will. But I want to talk about I alluded to the stall calls, and one that, or two, I guess I could say, that kind of distressed me. So Cade and Dom had a pretty good match for the most. It was a decent amount of action, etc. 44 seconds left. Brock's coming. Cade is coming for it. He's down by 3, and they hit him with stalling with 44 seconds. And they stay tied up. They keep wrestling. Cade is certainly being more aggressive. And then at 25 seconds, in just 20 seconds, they give him that stall point. And I thought, man, these guys have been doing this for 6 minutes and change, and now we're going to have the stall call. I just think the situational stuff, I can't stand it because that kind of action happens. I watched Nick Suriano chase John Ernesty for 3 minutes straight. No stall warnings the entire time. But because the match is late and you know one guy has to score and you know the other guy doesn't have to, then it's like we're just throwing our fists up all the time. And I didn't like that. I would have liked it if we had seen it a little earlier, but I thought 2 calls in 20 seconds after all the action that happened and how much I see ignored in the first period where even after a takedown when a guy's just laying there on bottom, how much you let guys get away with it. And then now, just because situationally a guy's trailing and needs to score, you're going to put him within a takedown. I didn't like that at all.
Yeah, I mean, I don't like situational calls. I don't like, overtime ride out, the guy drops down to a leg and kicks and kicks and kicks. And the first one's always a stalemate. Okay, yeah. If that wasn't overtime ride outs, it wouldn't have been a stalemate.
Right.
So I don't like it either.
Yep, so that I didn't like that, but also Cade gave a point away when he double-legged Dom after the buzzer. So a lot of things can really shift this match. If he doesn't have that, it goes into overtime, kind of a senseless point to give away. So excited we'll see that one at Big 12s potentially. I'm trying to think about the 141 landscape at Big 12s. Josh Albert will be in the mix. So there'll be some guys that stand in their way, but
Ian Parker.
Yep, Ian Parker, who's
Matt
Finley, Sam Turner.
Oh wow,
it's a pretty good weight.
Nice weight. So if they hit again, they'll have had to run somewhat of a gauntlet to get there. That was exciting. But now, more Bedlam thoughts. It was 41-2. It was a safety decision there for Dom Demas.
Normally Oklahoma wins by that amount.
Right. So, man, I don't know what to say other than Oklahoma just did not look good there in a lot of matches. They were getting pinned. They were I don't know. I was disappointed in, I don't want to say the effort, but it just didn't seem, they just weren't competitive in a lot of the matches. Whereas, you watch a team like, I don't know, like Wyoming, which I would say Wyoming has like probably comparable talent to Oklahoma. Maybe they have a little more. Certainly they're wrestling better right now. But there was just a lot more grit in that match from Wyoming, from two teams that I think should be kind of on a similar wavelength. I thought there's just really different levels of competition against the Cowboys. Now I'm comparing two duels, and maybe Oklahoma State was just not wrestling as well against Wyoming, but I just think there's something there with Wyoming and some of these other teams that wasn't there with Oklahoma, and I can't put my finger on it, but I just thought at this point we start seeing signs with Oklahoma, and
I mean it's fight, right? Like,
yeah,
you're just not seeing, like, I don't know, they just don't go out there and wrestle that hard.
Yeah,
honestly, like, you see in Wyoming, they're gonna wrestle you hard and in your face for 7 minutes, and just don't see it.
Like, Bono and Branch are probably the two coaches we come back to a lot with, just regardless of what the talent level that they have out there, their guys, scrap, right? They do all the cliche stuff that we love about wrestling. That is not been the case this year in Oklahoma. Now, not having Christian Moody didn't help. He probably wouldn't have beaten Pitch anyway. That might have helped the score a little bit. But otherwise they were, yeah, that's right. They didn't have Woodley. But still, and even at CKLV, right? I mean, they finished in 22nd place.
That's crazy.
With just one placer.
I mean, behind Clarion.
Right, just one placer, which was Demas. I don't think anybody won more than a couple matches.
And Woodley wrestled there. I'm surprised, and I don't know what the ingredient is. I don't know if it's just like, man, it takes more time, but I just expected, if nothing else. Think about when Coach Ersland took over at Purdue. It was like immediately people were like, this team is immediately competing, immediately wrestling hard. They weren't very good then, and they're still on their way up. But it was just an immediate recognition like, okay, Coach Ursland's done something here. The culture is shifting, and these guys are wrestling hard. If nothing else, they're losing, sure, but they're competing. I just don't, that hasn't yet manifested itself in Oklahoma.
By that same token, so one of the articles we ran this morning was which college won Ironman, and they had 2 guys just win Ironman. So
which guys? Which
Sam Dover at 152 and Darian Roberts at 182. So theoretically, like, there's still reinforcements coming in, and they're still trying to bring guys in. So I don't know. I don't know what the length of time is where you kind of decide this is just are what they are, but they're continuing to recruit pretty well. So
is it really hard to win at Oklahoma? Strangely, I mean, I don't understand. Is all the complaints about Coach Spates back in the day? No one's been. I mean, Mark Cody was not close to Coach Spates' level. They were having top 10 teams, etc. Cody did have the one year where they had the Howe, Travis Rutt transfers on top of the other guys they already had, but those were Spates' wrestlers, as I recall.
I don't get it, man.
It makes no sense.
It's like a Bermuda Triangle or something. Like something weird happens in the Sooner wrestling room because when Mark Cody won like Coach of the Year, right? Mark Cody did so much with so little at American, and everybody was like, "Oh, if he gets a job at a big time program, that's going to be great." Well, his tenure there, frankly, was a disaster, and I don't know why, because by all accounts, he's a really good coach.
Yeah.
Lou Roselli comes. Lou Roselli was on the short list of every freaking job opening that there was. By all accounts, is one of the best technical coaches in the country. And he goes there, and you just haven't seen results. It's just, to me, I don't know what to say because I think it's bizarre. I find it really strange. And Roselli's not just like one of the best college coaches. He's a world-class coach. I mean, you look at what he's done, what he did at the Ohio RTC. Like, world-class, one of the best places to train in the world. It still is. And that was his impact. And Coach Ryan was always very candid about how important he was to that program. And yeah, like you mentioned, Willie, he was on the short list for everything and waited for his opportunity. He got a great one at Oklahoma. You thought slam dunk here, great program, great coach. You merge the two, but there's something missing, at least at this point.
I think you laugh about this a lot, but like being number 2 in your state by a wide margin, I think that really, really hurts them. Like, we talked about this ad nauseum before we knew that Plott was going to Oklahoma State. Like, wow, could Oklahoma get a guy from the state of Oklahoma? Mm-hmm. Like, not the third or fourth best guy, like the top guy in the state of Oklahoma right now. And they obviously didn't, but like that was a real conversation, and it's just been 15, 20 years of that. And so not being able to get any kids in your own state hurts, like having to go nationally. And then there's clearly something like athletic department wise that, or maybe not, but it seems that there's some athletic department wise that they're missing.
Oklahoma is better than Oklahoma State at basically every other sport.
I understand that, but that doesn't mean they're like helping wrestling in any way.
You see their facilities? Their facilities are incredible.
They have what they need to.
Could argue their wrestling room is nicer than Oklahoma State's.
I don't even know if you could argue anything other than that's a fact. They have better facilities.
John Smith got his 50th Bedlam win yesterday.
What?
50th win against Oklahoma. Now, they used to wrestle twice a year.
Right.
Still.
So that helps. But he's like 56-1 against 56 losses and 1.
Got it. I was like,
against, no. Sorry.
They wrestled 6 times yesterday.
My goodness.
56-1.
That is amazing. 6 losses in that's incredible. Because
John's been there 26 years.
Oklahoma had some teams back in the day. So for him to, there's a little brother thing going on there. But I wonder this too. Oklahoma, somewhat of an insular state. Do you need an Oklahoma person in that job? Is Mark Cody from Oklahoma? I almost said he wasn't. He went there. Maybe he went. Yeah. But maybe is that a part of it too?
How about the all-time Bedlam series in wrestling? 141, 27, and 10.
I mean, the Cowboys rule the state in terms of inside the state border perception and fidelity, like among the high schoolers and the high school coaches and stuff. They get all the talent, right? They get all the Oklahoma talent. But when you bring in Mantanona, when you bring in Woodley and Boyd, Woodley's a PA guy, obviously. Boyd from Missouri. That shouldn't affect them, right? They don't really care.
Yeah.
They're still recruiting well.
Right. I mean, Iowa State and UNI are not like completely hamstrung by not being number one in the state. Yeah, I don't know. I don't think it's that. I think it matters that it certainly matters that they're not getting even the number 2 Oklahoma guys. That hurts, but I think it's maybe that is one component of an overall pie graph of problems there that I don't know what they are, but all I know is there's signals that this isn't going great as of yet, and I don't know why. Another note, just something look through these box scores that I find interesting. Central Michigan, who lost Brent Fleetwood, Mason Smith, Justin Oliver. Anyone else leave? I mean,
Brucky graduated. I know that was a good guy.
Ellingwood graduated.
Yeah.
And Heffernan. So they lose
Heffernan.
the 3 of their best wrestlers transfer, and they kick Maryland's teeth in.
I don't think Central Michigan. I think Stencil was their only placer at CKLV too.
That sounds right.
So man, you want to talk about? I mean, another team that you would think be showing some signs at some point, and maybe it's just time for something else there. But man, Maryland, how do you lose your 3 best guys? You're Central Michigan. You're not that great of a team this year, and they win 26-9 over Maryland. I mean, that is. I don't know what else there is to say other than holy cow. I saw Mike Riordan tweeted about this, and that's kind of like what drew my attention to it. And yeah, what can you say other than wow, 26-9, and you lost your 3 best guys.
We haven't seen Hamida wrestle this year. I know that wouldn't have impacted the duel at that point.
We would have shifted it slightly, but yeah, I don't know. Notable. I was thinking about it's so tough. The tightrope of candor we have to walk here. It is, you have no idea the sensitivities of the programs, of the people, of the feedback we get. It would blow your minds. Just blow your minds. Okay, so
if the Green Bay Packers start 5-3 instead of 8-0, they start questioning Mike McCarthy's job security. I mean, in wrestling, you could be wholly irrelevant. You could lose duels. You could lose 40 straight dual meets, or let's say 40 straight conference dual meets. And if we were to suggest or hint or postulate if somebody's job was safe, we'd get emails and phone calls.
Yeah. So, and someone at CKLV was like, "Hey, who's on the hot seat? Y'all need to do an article. Who's on the hot seat?" I was like, "Okay, yeah, easy for you to say, Coach, because your team's doing all right now."
My seat's feeling cold right now.
Yeah. So I was thinking, how can we brand this so we can talk about teams that are not doing well? Why don't we just say they're teams that make us sad? Because it would be better in wrestling if all the teams were good, right? If Oklahoma was really good at wrestling, that would be awesome for wrestling. If Maryland was a Big Ten power like they could be, or they could be, a top 5 Big Ten team potentially, that would be good for wrestling. So maybe we'll just brand it teams that make us sad, and we'll just leave it at that. We're just sad that Oklahoma and Maryland are not better, and you can infer from that what you want, but they just make me sad. I wish they were better.
Who else? Is there any other teams that make you sad?
Those were the. You know what? There's only. I don't want to. It's Monday. I don't want to spread, but so much sadness.
Well, there's a lot of sadness. We already hit on the 2 main ones. I feel like for sadness, Oklahoma.
How good did Oregon State do at Cliff Keen?
As a
they probably beat
team,
Oklahoma.
as a team, they finished 19th.
Yeah.
With
they're gonna get a nice bump.
2 placers
with Desi coming back.
Yeah. That's
Yeah.
gonna inflate them tournament.
But still, you're right, Willie. You're right because Desi's gone next year. Is Bresser gone?
Because Desi's
Bresser's
Canadian.
gone next year.
It's basically just the Willets at that point. From
How many Willets are there?
there's two.
Okay.
There's 2 Willets.
Hopefully
I like the one.
How
I
about,
like the one at 157.
It's also team point deduction season.
Ooh,
We had 4 teams lose a point yesterday.
nice.
Nice.
All right, name,
4?
name names. I know the
Oklahoma.
Jake Boyd.
Jake
lost.
Boyd tried to fight Derek
I don't know
White.
why he was so upset. I mean, I know why he's upset that he lost. He got pinned. Derek White slaps the mat after he pins him, and Jake Boyd was looking for someone to get in.
He's looking for some trouble.
He's looking for trouble.
He better not wrestle Gable.
You don't want to find it.
He don't want to find it in the Derek White form because that guy is way too big.
Yep. So Oklahoma
Kinda
was
shoved the ref,
deducted-
too.
Oh yeah, that was bad.
That's bad
He
visual.
was deducted a team point for unsportsmanlike conduct.
Mm.
Ohio State was deducted a team point for control of mat. Indiana deducted a team point for unsportsmanlike conduct.
Indiana.
And Air Force was deducted a team point for bench misconduct.
Coach Barber.
Hold on.
I don't believe it.
I need more information.
That was
'cause
probably Bart Horton.
Angel is like the most.
I don't know. Well, we have
Like
the duel on
calm-
our site. We need to go back and watch the
Yeah.
whole thing. But yeah.
Did Jaggers throw a
Well,
Yeezy on the mat or something?
Indiana-
How did they lose?
It says Indiana was deducted for unsportsmanlike conduct, so that could be a wrestler.
Okay.
Yeah, that probably
Oh.
wasn't.
I just can't.
That probably
in my
wasn't.
head,
Yeah, that probably wasn't
imagine
Angel.
Angel like.
And
it
you
was a
you
team
know
point.
it was Tom Ryan that got that control of match.
Of course.
You know it was not Jaggers.
He
or
was
Travell.
probably protesting blood time again.
Very few coaches get as fired up as Coach Ryan.
Indeed. Okay. Let's go to, let's say, Iowa Lehigh. Talk about this a little bit. Most of the Hawks were back. Spencer Lee comes out, tech smash immediately.
Spencer Lee we're used to.
That's back to our regularly scheduled programming. Of course, Spencer not been able to face anyone of note this year other than Glory, Hallelujah, who will be at Midlands, as will Sebastian Rivera. Glory's look great.
Can we talk about Sebastian Rivera real quick before we get because
You know what?
they tie in.
I'll allow it.
Okay, he did not wrestle against who did they wrestle this weekend? Old Dominion.
Also,
Didn't-
Old Dominion just kicked the crap out of Northwestern.
Annihilated
blasted
them.
him.
Now I know Northwestern. They didn't have like 3 guys. They didn't have Rivera. They didn't have Johnny Sebastian. And there was somebody else. But yeah, that was weird.
They got destroyed though. Even if those 3 guys
Yeah.
had pins, I don't know if they would have won.
Who
So
was the third one? Sebastian.
we're there.
Sebastian
looking
and
at
who?
Is
Colin
is
Schober.
Brendan Devine their usual 84-pounder?
I don't think so.
Oh. Colin Schobert.
Yeah. Anyway, so we didn't see Rivera against North Dakota State, and we didn't see him against. We didn't see him this weekend against Old Dominion. He might have missed another duel too. Now, obviously, he was at CKLV, but he talked. I mean, he talked about it in his interview, right? Like he was hurt this offseason, at least as recently as 3 weeks before the North Dakota State duel, where he had his knee scoped. They also know that basically all that matters is beating Spencer Lee at this point. Like Sebastian's clear number 2 in the country, right?
That's a little presumptuous.
Yeah, that is presumptuous.
Well,
You
for
can't-
that,
if he's
on their
only
schedule,
if he is only focused on Spencer Lee, it's gonna be problematic. 'Cause
look
there are
on
a
their
number of guys that
schedule,
can beat
he's
Sebastian
not going to
Rivera.
hit pitch, right? He's not going to hit a bunch of other, like he's not going to hit Glory, well maybe at Midlands, but for them,
I mean,
on their schedule, they hit Spencer 3 times, right? So he's like the number one thing. So I think we're gonna. I don't know. I'd like to know more, but I feel like we're gonna see Rivera on a pitch count this year to try and keep some stress off that knee and to prepare him for Spencer.
I don't know. I mean, I'm not good. That's not a bad speculation. It's not a bad job by you reading the tea leaves. But at the same time, I'm not gonna assume that is what's going on. I'm not gonna put those words in their mouths. But if that is what's going on, I mean, the second part of it, okay. The first part where he's only looking at Spencer and it's the only thing he has to worry about. I mean, if that is the case, I call foul there, because if you think like wrestling the Old Dominion 125 or wrestling the Fleetwood is sort of beneath you, then then that is part of the whole ducking, dodging, starters sitting out crap that I don't like.
Yeah.
I don't think it's about being beneath him. I think it's about saving a weigh-in and saving a
Yeah, I get
7-minute
it,
match.
but what you started out with was the only thing that matters is beating Spencer.
Yeah.
Right, so keeping him not wrestling 6 or 7 duels to keep your body healthier. To not have to go through that weigh-in.
Man,
I don't understand, man. I don't like the idea that so often gets thrown around that every weigh-in and every competition correlates to injury or correlates to. It's like, man, we're making it sound like every single competition, like the games themselves are this great element of danger. It's the literal sport. It is the thing you do. It is wrestling. You wrestle matches.
Here's what I don't get about the whole thing, right? And I shot my mouth off again, and I said the ducking, the dodging, the sitting your guys out is killing the sport, right? There are, and I'm not that. By the way, I know that came at the time when Stoll didn't wrestle, but that was not specifically about Iowa and not specifically about Sam Stoll. It is about the collective. I'm watching a weekend of wrestling, and this guy didn't wrestle, and that guy didn't wrestle, and this guy didn't wrestle, and oh my God, these were the 3 matches I wanted to see this weekend, and 2 of them didn't happen. The NFL has these rules to keep quarterbacks in the game, right? Because nobody wants to see 13-10 defensive battles, and nobody wants to see third-string quarterback play.
Like Alex Smith.
And he was
Mark
a starter.
Sanchez. That's what people don't want to see is Mark Sanchez.
Nobody wants to see Mark Sanchez, right? So, and why did they do that? Why is it so incredibly important for the NFL to keep their stars and to keep their top players and to have their level of play consistently high? Because nobody wants to watch that other stuff. Mm-hmm. Now, I'm not saying that it's. I don't want to watch Aaron Costello, and I don't want to watch. I don't know
Jeremiah
whoever. One of the 16 spot starters for Lehigh. It's okay once in a while. It's okay. I'm not poo-pooing Aaron Costello, but what I'm saying is when I think that I'm going to get Bo Jordan, Mark Hall, and then Bo Jordan doesn't weigh in. And when that happens every weekend, over and over and over again, it's very frustrating.
Yeah, highly frustrating, and just I think what Nomad was alluding to is the prevailing mentality. Not prevailing. That makes it sound like the majority of guys don't. But like it's creeping in that
it is increasingly getting that way.
Yeah, like man, I can't wrestle because if something happens. I mean, then you can't practice. Then you can't. What can you do? I just don't. Is wrestling that much more dangerous than it was 10 years ago?
I don't think it's more dangerous. I just think people are. I think people are much more cognizant of their bodies, and maybe I don't know, for better or worse. Like, what? Okay, not to. We always have to do this. Everything comes back to Penn State. Penn State wrestles all of their guys for a reason. And it's something to do with recovery or practice or something that simply other teams are not doing, right? Like their guys, or they just wrestle through injuries, like, and we don't know it. But their guys are always out there, and I think other programs are trying to figure out how to get there so that their guys don't have to miss. Because I started this on Sebastian Rivera, so I'll use him again. I don't think Storniolo or anyone in the Northwestern coaching staff doesn't want anything but Sebastian Rivera out there all the time at 100%. But if he's not at 100%, they're trying to do the mental calculation of what is this match worth to us right now on December 8th, December 9th, whatever
That's the problem. That's the problem. Because the answer is always, always, always going to be to sit. If you ask that question, as you're balancing wrestling a duel against Old Dominion versus long-term Big Tens, NCAAs, the answer is always going to be sit your guy. And that's just not, that can't be a reality for a sport that you want to see grow.
Listen, when you go an hour and a half practice, maybe practice a couple times a day. Anyway, your practices are more intense and not intense. They're more grueling, and there's more opportunity for an injury there
Certainly
than there is
more
in the
rigor.
7 minutes in your match.
Yeah.
And number one, and number two, if that's gonna be the thing, if it's Sebastian Rivera, and again, I don't want to call anybody out. I don't want to point fingers.
Yeah, that's just.
I just want to say there's a big problem going on, and everybody will have their. Well, you don't know he's dealing with this. Well, you don't know this guy's dealing with this. Yeah, I know y'all have your reasons, but collectively, the sport is hurting for it, and it's trending in the wrong direction. We're seeing more people sit out.
Yeah.
I don't know how Sebastian Rivera and the coaching staff can make the decision that he is cool enough to wrestle at a grueling Cliff King tournament, but not wrestle a duel against Old Dominion. And for this, again, speculation, but if you're saying pitch count and keep him relatively fresh, I don't buy that. If it's such a fragile situation in which you're going to have to be on a pitch count throughout the year, and this is not Storniolo's words, this is yours, or your theory. If it's so fragile that you have to have him on a pitch count, then sit out till January.
Yeah, don't be in and out.
Yeah.
So
again, not to Willie's point, not to pick on him. Just he was the one that came to mind this weekend. So,
gotta name some names every now and again. But yeah, it's kind of annoying. Okay.
We said it last year. It is symptomatic. The problem is that all these coaches are coached for March, and so they are increasingly holding their guys out in some sort of precaution to be better down the road.
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't know what the answers are.
Yeah, I'm not sure either. I mean, I don't know how. There's no way to incentivize it.
That's the question, right? How do you incentivize?
Unless you unless you understand the value of a good product week in and week out for your fans and the fans of the team that you're wrestling. Unless you put a really high value on that, which they don't. They value that. They're fine when that aligns with their prerogative. Then it's fine, right? But they're never going to say, well, for the sake of the product or the sake of this, and maybe they shouldn't, right? But that's like the only thing they could really consider, and that doesn't really map to their bottom line. So for that reason,
well, you laughed about me at Vegas for this, but that's why I want season tickets to become a thing, because now there is an economic impact that could happen if people hold guys out. If fans know that there's 7 home duels and I'm only going to see,
if fans buy their ticket early, their season tickets before the season starts, and then they hold their starters out, they already got them.
they're not going to renew.
But I'm talking about next year, right? Like, if you know there's 7 home duels and I'm only going to see the full 10 one time, you're not going to get the same return. Like, the people aren't going to renew. So that's part of why I want season tickets to be a thing, so that it does incentivize them, literally economically, to get our best product on the mat and keep our fans happy. We gotta make these changes.
All right, season ticket corner with Wrestling Nomad.
I think it'll be. I don't know how you guys like. You're stupid. Like it could be really important. Like I really think, because here's the thing, the teams are gonna figure, like the 80 teams are gonna figure themselves out, right? The coaches, like somebody's gonna be good, somebody's gonna be bad. They're gonna figure that out. But to have it so that every team is doing like little things on social media and having season tickets and like putting like filling up the stands, that's what actually matters. That's what actually matters.
Yeah, we know. No,
but I don't. Why are you like poo-pooing it?
It was just funny at Vegas because you asked every single coach about it.
Because it's important.
At CKLV?
Yeah, I'm not just asking about CKLV. I'm asking them a variety of things.
At CKLV, Nomad was going up to all the coaches saying, "How are season ticket sales?"
Not exactly, but yes.
Yeah. All right.
Yeah.
Hey, speaking of guys who are not sitting out, Weigel's back, McFadden's back.
Welcome back. And
Billy Miller.
Billy Miller.
Back.
So that's good. Glad they're all back. Weigel, I guess he had a knee injury. He had a thing on his knee, so that's why I'm guessing he was out. He wrestled at the OCU Open early November. Then we didn't see him since. So, but no, glad he's back. He's essential for Oklahoma State if they want to make a run at a trophy and challenging Penn State. They need Weigel. And I want to talk about this. Oklahoma State's starting lineup. What is it going to be? And I think Caden Gefeller is in a really interesting spot right now because we're seeing Cade Brock. He's not looking his best right now, right? He lost to Mitch McKee. He lost to Dom Demas. Caden Gefeller's looking really good at 149, but they need him at 149 because Boo is still out. So right now we're entering the Reno scuffle portion. There's rumors that Oklahoma State may send starters to Reno, right? So Caden could have some opportunities to compete for his optimal weight or what he feels is his optimal weight, 141, but he probably won't because he's got to be going 49 until Boo's out, theoretically, right? So it's a weird thing where he's their best 149 right now, but he can't really contend or be compared to Cade Brock right now because he's at 49 and he can't go down because then they would stink at 49.
Christian, what? There's a lot of questions here. One, did you just spit? What happened there?
It's called a sneeze.
Oh, bless you.
Thank you.
One, man, what could happen there? Could he go down to 41? Could he theoretically beat Cade out at 41? You made a comment to me yesterday. Cade's 2 for 2 at NCAAs, which is true. How long's Boo out? When's he coming back? Here's my question. What is the impact? How does it work for seeding? If G ended up being 149 for the postseason, would he get any credit for wins that he had at 41 or vice versa?
No.
Right?
It's like
Just
how you
wins
did
at the
against
win.
that field you're being compared against. So
Yep.
right now, every match at 149, if he's going to ultimately end up at 41, which we don't know, it's not helping him. The fact that he's undefeated and looks really good and just handled. He was pushing for a major there against Davion, and the score looked closer than it was. He was all over that dude. And that's a guy, I mean, not to bring it back to Oklahoma, but man, Davion Jeffries was a dude coming out, right? He had a solid true freshman year. And which way is he gone? And I think he's good. But
Boo did major him last year in the duel.
yeah, those should be matches. Davion is good enough to go with Caden Gefeller and Bulu Allen. You won't be. This guy beat Pantaleo on multiple occasions, right? And I don't know. I don't know what to make of it. So sorry to bring it back to that, but it's just I don't get it. I don't understand it. But yeah, for Caden and Cade, that dynamic. It's going to be tough for Caden if he ends up being at 49 all his time and Boo supplants him, which everyone thinks is going to happen. Everyone thinks Boo is better. He's the better option. He beats Caden, et cetera, et cetera. And then I think if Scuffle comes and goes, where is Caden going to get to prove himself if he's the best 41? Let's say Scuffle comes, Boo's back, he beats out Caden. Where does Caden get to show, hey, maybe I'm the best 41? Yeah, I don't think he'll get to.
No,
and maybe that's just tough luck for Caden Gefeller this year.
Yeah.
What year is Boo?
I mean, that's
Boo's
what I was
not-
going to
Boo's a
say,
junior.
too. It's like, it ain't going away anytime soon either because it's junior, freshman, junior. I mean, they'll have the same problem next year.
Yeah. So next year it happens again. So I don't know.
I don't know. I thought all summer long, like, that they should try to bulk up Boo to 57. But
Yeah, maybe they pull some weight over there.
hey, I'll tell you, I know we went through the Bedlam duel, but Dakota Gear's activity level was that dude moves.
Yeah, he's
That
really
dude
good on
hustles.
top too. No, Gear's nice. He's a
Years of War. Hey, is Joe Smith wrestling?
I have no idea.
We know nothing.
He was registered for a tournament. I don't remember what the tournament is, but he was registered for a tournament at 174.
Alon's.
And yep, it was Alon's at
74
79 kilos. And then was not in the registry the next day.
He unre-registered.
Mm-hmm.
I have no idea. Oh, so yeah, I have no idea about Joe. Hopefully Reno or Scuffle. We get the Joe Smith debut, but
So, man, I tell you what. I was talking online last night to Nomad and Spay, and Spay sends a message. He's like, "Hey guys, just give you a heads up. I'm not going to be on. I'm traveling to Reno. I'm not going to be on Who's Number One this week." And I'm like, "Dang." I was so wrapped up in Ironman, I didn't even realize Reno was this week. So
it's not.
what do we? It's not.
No.
I thought that was his point that he was going to get to, was that it's not this week.
It's not this week.
It's in like
Spay
2
is
weeks.
lying to you.
Then what is he talking about?
So where is Spay going?
Oh, wow.
Wow.
He does love Reno, like an inordinate amount. So
It's
maybe he's just going a week
Really
early.
weird. Because
It's really weird.
Not a nice place.
It's maybe the worst place we go.
Well, I can see Spag. Never mind.
Yep. Okay.
So wait, so what's this week?
Not.
The return of Yanni Diakomahalis.
Yeah, I'll be there.
Well, it says Reno in this document.
It does?
that I'm
Well,
looking at.
because it says the word Reno. It doesn't mean Reno is now.
Oh, it means, hey, this week, Reno is...
Oh, this week. I did put this week. Sorry. Yeah, it's not this week, but we should talk about it.
He's rewatching.
Reno 911.
Yeah.
What I'm
Cornell,
saying is I've been wrapped
Riders,
up in high school stuff.
Rutgers.
Tell me what's big in college this week.
You and I.
Cornell, UNI, Rider, Rutgers, Ohio, Iowa State, Virginia, Missouri.
Biggest duel is probably Nebraska at NC State.
Yeah.
That's it.
The ones I just
Missouri-
rattled off are the ones we have live.
Reen and Vins.
Yeah.
Yeah. Now we're
Berger
talking.
Hayden.
Yeah, we've seen. Well,
Hey,
we'll
Missouri has who? Virginia?
Yeah.
Missouri's lineup looked a lot different this week.
Well, you're gonna see Ernest and Smith sit a bunch. They're on the weight cut pitch count thing. So that will be, but their lineup will be Smith, Ernest Ironman, Mahler, JQs, Flynn, Lewis, Wisman, Cooling, Elam.
Yeah, Mahler beat
Ultimately.
Butler, and Wisman beat Marriott at UNI Open this weekend. So
That is 8 starters all from the state.
Wow.
That's pretty incredible.
I said it like when we did the recruiting thing last year. I don't think anyone does a better job with in-state talent than Missouri. Like, it's kind of absurd.
There's also
Yeah.
not another team, which
Yes,
helps.
that absolutely.
Well-
But to still, even so, like some teams don't have other teams and they get guys from out of state like they have to. But
I mean, I'm with Nomad. I mean, Missouri has positioned themselves. They're perennially top 10 and often a trophy level team, and they're doing it largely with in-state talent. And Missouri is not mentioned in the same breath as California, PA, Ohio, New Jersey.
It's a good point.
It might kind of be better than California. I mean, I don't know. I guess they have some really good dudes, but Missouri, you just look at some of the high-end talent. I don't know, man.
No, I mean, California, kids fall off.
Yes.
California high school students. I mean, California high school wrestlers are much better than Missouri high school wrestlers. They just in college, they don't do anything.
It's weird. It's kind of a weird thing. Okay. Questions from friends. We have so many.
Yeah.
They're not Willie's friends because
Some
Willie
of
is
them are.
no,
Shrubbery's my boy.
no, he's not. Eric Shrubbery. What? This is a good question. And Willie's not allowed to answer them because if you didn't know, Willie is dismissive of the fan. He calls them fan questions. We call them questions from friends. That just shows you kind of like we're kind of on your level. We're all friends. He's like, oh, my fans are asking me questions. Like I have time for these idiots. Basically a direct quote. Eric Bush at Eric_Shrubbery. I see what you did there. What are the chances we see a 14-15 style punt from Kale and Company for the 1920 season? Nolf Nickel, points graduating similar to Taylor Ruth. Chances we see red shirts from Hall, Joseph, possible Olympic red shirt. I don't know. I don't think so. I don't see Chinzo pursuing an Olympic red shirt necessarily, and he already used his regular red shirt. Now, if Chinzo had it in his head, I want an Olympic red shirt, I think he could. I don't know the exact criteria, but I think he could probably do it and make it happen, right? But I see him. I don't think it's that kind of a scenario where like Nickel, Nolf, Rutherford, those three when during the punt year were.
They actually were.
Two of them were true freshmen.
Right.
Nickel was not Nickel at that point.
It was
Nickel had lost. Nickel had lost to Andy McCulley that year. Nolf was not ready to contend for a title. He lost to James Green, even though he beat Brian Realbuta, who was an NCAA finalist. So what I'm saying is they sat guys who were not yet that established. Now they did sit Nico and Zane, who were super established. You could say that is comparable to sitting Hall and Joseph. But I think they can win next year. Maybe they didn't think. I think they could have won that year. That's what prompted the entire "you got to plan" thing. Is because I thought the best team at NCAAs was taking the year off, right, with Penn State.
Yeah, I'm the same way, right? The year that you asked Kel the question and he said that "you got to plan" thing, I thought that they could have made a run for it, right? They could have if they opted to do that. Now it would have. One thing was that it would have been touch and go, and a lot of those guys, they were all young. A lot of those guys were young. Number two is that they wouldn't have won the title last year because Zane would have been gone. So it's half a dozen.
Yeah.
You know.
I was gonna say that's true, but it's not necessarily true because theoretically Zane could have redshirted the next year. But at some point, they're not in the lineup in those next 4 or 5 years, and it hurts them. So yeah.
Now,
you're exactly right.
When I saw this question from Shrubbery, I thought it was a good question too. Not necessarily because I thought next year was a good year, because I don't think it's a good year. I think they have the pieces in place that they win. But I thought it was a good question in the sense that is there going to become another year, another point in time somewhere soon that it is the punt year for Penn State?
I wonder. Here's another thing, a reason that maybe evidence for why they could, because freshmen don't come to Penn State now. They gray shirt. They're just not there. So they're not there. So these guys could come in, Nevels, Brooks, Beard. They could come in and they could all redshirt. Joe Lee. So they could sit those 4 guys plus Hall and Joseph, and then roll them all out the next year if they wanted to. I don't know what the.
But see, that's the thing. The gray. So like. The punt was like, I don't know, almost unprecedented as far as I know. But because of the gray shirts, they actually have it lined. They have it lined up so good. Like they're basically set at 7 weights through 2023 right now.
But
with
after
like
that,
really good guys. So in the next 5 years, I don't see a punt making sense. Like you gray shirt Joe Lee so that he can redshirt next year so that Chenzo can be gone and he will take over 65. Gray shirting Brooks is, I guess, a little odd. I guess they thought he was going to be 74, but now it looks like he's going to be 84. And then redshirt Starocki, he takes over for Hall. The gray shirting of Beard didn't make sense because Nickel's gone. But yeah, I don't know. I don't see a punt. I think they're good enough to win next year. I think it lines up well with what they're trying to do. Now, if those guys want to take Olympic red shirts, then that's what's going to happen.
If you're looking at a year where Penn State's going to have the hardest time winning in the future, it might be next year. Mm-hmm. But is it if Hall and Joseph are back? I don't know. Is that too strong of a nucleus?
Oh yeah, I still pick them.
That's
in perpetuity.
too strong. Yeah. So maybe now we're just talking 2 years down the road when those guys are gone, and then I think that's the window. And then that's just assuming that other teams are doing really well, which may not be true. So we'll see. I don't know. Mark Hall could have taken an Olympic shirt no.
I think it's an extremely interesting topic. I'm also kind of sort of fascinated with, extremely intrigued with who's going to do what for the Olympic cycle, the Olympic year.
Yeah.
Well, they need to come.
I mean, not just at Penn State, everywhere.
Right.
They need to come out with that
Like
criteria
Spencer Dayton.
soon, because it often has a lot to do with, like, it has to come out before NCAA's.
You should find the 2016 criteria if you can, or say it if you know it. Because I'd be curious.
I bet I can find it within the time we get to the next
I'll
question.
talk about other
Bet.
things. Bet. All right.
Because the Olympic, right, the kids are going to take Olympic years next year.
Mm-hmm.
They're not,
Correct.
right? So next year is soon.
You're right.
Okay, very simply, they had to meet one criteria of these four: past national team member, which does not apply to anyone currently in college.
Well, yeah, sure it does. Certainly Dayton Fix.
No, like senior world team member.
National team member means
National
top
team
3.
member.
Oh, national team. Oh, yes, then Dayton Fix can take one. Top 8 at the 2015 senior world team trials, so we would assume roll that over to 2019.
No, it's still 2015.
Top 3 at the 2015 NCAA Wrestling Championships or NCAA champion from previous year, and top 2 from 2015 University Nationals. So,
Dang, so there's a lot of ways to get an Olympic.
So if you were an NCAA champ and you made U23 finals.
So Chenzo and Halls meet those criteria.
Now here's where it gets a
Didn't
lot of
RBY
people.
make the final, or was he third?
What'd you say, buddy?
RBY was what? Third? Fourth?
At what?
Universities.
Oh, I don't recall.
He was runner up,
He was
but
second.
he would have to also win NCAA's this year for that one if they just rolled this out the same way. Now this one is a lot of people. Previous junior or university world medalist. So Gable, Dayton,
Zach
Spencer,
Elam.
Ryan Deacon, Zach Elam,
Makai Lewis.
Kai Lewis. Yeah. So that
What if Makai Lewis was able to take an Olympic red shirt and Vincenzo Joseph couldn't?
Matt Ramos.
Matt. Jared Verkleen. No, those are cadets. Okay, so there's a lot of ways to do it. For the guys we're speaking of, there's a lot of.
But again, that was the previous regime, right? So that was Coach Burnett made these. Will Coach Zadok do it the same way? Who knows?
Is it real? Okay.
Anyway, yeah, I'm very much looking forward to. The
Why
Olympic
is
entry.
stalling a warning the first penalty for a first penalty point? Sorry, this is worded strangely. Okay. Why is stalling a warning first, then penalty point, but hands to the face, another subjective rule, is an automatic penalty point? That's kind of my whole thing with it. Mm-hmm. That's why I hate it so much, is because, all right, I'm over here. So often, like, when you think about what in reality getting a stall point requires, like how much action and activity and how much merit is behind you earning one stall point, it's a lot. And the merit in getting your face touched between here and here, there's zero. I could get my face touched in that way and get a point. So there's no skill involved. I think there should be a warning or something like that. I think there should be. Or massive discretion applied. Because the current application, it makes no sense in terms of what we're trying to actually reward. Everyone went wild when I posted the Bulsick-Schultz clip because it was just the most gentle touch. If he even made contact, if it was even below the eyebrow, I think this is a great question and something I've thought. Now it's a completely different thing, right? They're saying this is like unsportsmanlike or whatever. I forget how they're actually wording it, but still, it's in terms of merit. I can't get with it. I reached out to Chuck Barbie, waiting to hear back if he'd be willing to come on the show and discuss. Because I'm still fired up about it.
What even is it? What Balsack did to Schultz?
Mm-hmm.
Was it Schultz? What is the harm there? I mean, what are they trying to prevent?
Who is there? Please point to Ann, because if it's about safety, I want one injury. Is there one? Has anyone been injured by by hands to the face, it's annoying. It's maybe unsportsmanlike. If you're in the eyes, that's really bad.
But if you're doing a distance check or just a tap the head for a fake, come on. I find it just incredulous that referee. I don't care. I don't care that I'm calling a referee out. The referee that made that call
and reviewed it.
That is terrible judgment.
Yes.
To think that should require a penalty.
Yeah, it's bad.
Unbelievable.
Yeah, they need to skew one way, but they're skewing. There's no skewing. It's just 100% this way. There's no gray, at least as far as I've seen. It's just 100%. They're calling it, and it's really, 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 really bad. And please change it. Signed, everyone. All right. We already talked about that. We already talked about Ryan Anderson. If NATO goes, NATO's going 133 for Midlands. So we have to change the unit of measure. Because everything for a couple months there, everything that Kyle Snyder lifted was in measurements of NATO's, how many NATO's it was. Now it's tougher at 133. But we could still say maybe he's a 57 for international. So I still think the technical unit of measurement is 125 pounds for Nathan Tomasello. I think he's eternally at 125, and we just need to get with it. So there's that.
He didn't think he was for a while.
No. Well, just 1 year.
This 1 year.
But I'm excited that he's going to be at 33. Potential DeSanto, Tomasello.
Oh, baby.
Yeah.
So I
Seth Gross back? He said December. He was shooting for December.
Do they go to Midlands?
Yes.
Stop.
Yes. He won last year.
Yeah, I know that, but that don't mean they go every year. Sometimes schedules change.
Let me confirm.
So I didn't get. I just heard the news. I didn't read too much about it. I didn't listen to anything about it. What? It's awesome that he's going. Awesome, but why?
Okay, so
Matt time.
here's my thing. I think it's smart. I think it's actually smart because he missed. He wasn't able to compete internationally, torn ACL, etc.
Yep.
And the notion that you need to get some match, he's going to get more quality matches at Midlands than he would at an international tournament. And I know it's not freestyle, it's folk style, but he's going to get his hands on a lot of tough dudes, wrestle some matches. If the idea is just to get on the mat and wrestle and compete instead of going to Ukraine, wrestling probably another American, maybe lose and then not get pulled into repechage is kind of a waste of a week-long trip to Eastern Europe. So I think it's a great idea when they do this. You're going to get a lot of matches. You're going to get to test out your timing. That's really what it's all about. So I think it makes a ton of sense for him to enter Midlands.
And I don't know, don't do top and bottom, right?
Or do top and bottom.
Yeah,
It's
well,
fine.
whatever. But
Don't tell him how to wrestle.
Yeah.
He's going to win.
I don't know. I'm fired up about it. Ohio RTC messaged me like, "Hey, Dana's back from Midlands," and I just immediately freaked out because I don't know, it's just great. It's good
Yeah,
to
I
have
want
NATO
more
back.
post.
It's good to have good wrestlers back in our lives, right? NATO, anybody that has been off the mat for a while.
Okay. Next question. We got to go here soon. 9:14 a.m. Does Kimmerer struggle to compete essentially 2 classes up make you wonder how Kimmerer would have actually fared if he were to wrestle this season? No, not at all. Because Kimmerer is voluntarily going up 2 weights because he was way too big for 57 towards the end there, which was maybe part of some of his quote-unquote struggles, even though he was 4th. He's been really good. Whereas Keyshawn is a 41 who had to go 49 but can't make 40 or can't beat Mike at 49, so he has to go 57. So no. And also, what exactly are Keyshawn's struggles? I think he's been pretty solid this year, right? I mean, he was okay at Vegas. I can't remember who all.
I thought he got 3rd at Vegas.
I think Berger beat him for 3rd.
Okay.
But I forget who he lost to topside.
He lost one
Barone.
bad match.
Oh, Barone. Yeah, that was kind of, that's not a good one. Okay. Somewhat struggle, but I think he's doing okay. I would not classify it as struggling as of yet for Kimmer or for Keyshawn. I think he would do well. Is Ironman the best high school regular season folk style tournament in the nation? Bar none.
Yes.
There's no second place. Well, there is, but it's in first. Evan Wick had over 5 minutes of riding time. Only one stall call was given with 30 seconds left in the 3rd. How would Johnny Quickstall have officiated this match? I don't even know if you can DQ guys for stalling anymore because that rule's changed so many times. I just forget because you never really see it applied. But Johnny Quickstall would have had him out of the building. He would have been ejected.
Was Evan Wick stalling?
He's talking about the guy
talking
underneath
about the
there.
bottom
Oh, guy
guy.
underneath. Okay.
Sheesh.
I was like, that's why I was confused by this question. I'm like, what?
I was confused too.
Oh, really? Okay, yeah. Johnny Quickstall would have hit him 100 times. He'd have been out of there. But yeah, that's a great point about how stalling is called. The classic obligatory last 30 seconds has no impact on the match stall call. It's like thanks for nothing. Any other questions before we go? There's some other good ones in here. Season we're over today. Who takes the Hodge Trophy? This is so tough to answer.
Yeah, I didn't want to answer this because a lot of it depends on NCAA's.
That's the FRL Inquisitor. As you recall, we skew towards asking questions towards people who make Twitter accounts solely to ask FRL questions. Very important to us. Don't nod, Willie. Willie's nodding like he likes this.
Hey, there was one from
This is the worst part of his day, every single FRL.
There was one from our dear friend, young Mr. Herring, that I wanted to answer that I didn't see in here.
Sam Herring, big shout.
And I have the answers ready. So he asked something to the effect of which two guys currently in high school will have the next like great NCAA finals match or rivalry. And what I came up with possibilities are Robbie Howard versus Trevor Mastrogiovanni, Dustin Plott versus Alex Facundo, and Colton Schultz versus Daniel Kirkfleet as my options.
Well, here's the thing with it's Gable, right?
Yeah, but Gable won't be there forever. They got an extra year.
True. I guess if they redshirt, so maybe only 2-year
Yeah.
overlap with Gable. I like the Facundo Plot one. That is juicy. Now, I don't know how the thing that'll derail that is not their abilities. Like, will their weights align?
I think they will.
I think Facundo's going to get a lot bigger. I think
Right.
everyone thinks that. But I think Plot is going to get a lot bigger, too. Like, if Plot wound up as,
Right.
like, 84-97.
Plott's tall.
Yeah. So, who knows? Okay, good stuff.
I'm surprised you didn't put that one in.
Yeah. Sorry, Sam. He's the man. Hey, we're ready to go. To our friends in the control room, command center. We are ready to go. Feel free to play the outro music. Thank you to ASICS for your support of FloWrestling
Hey.
Radio Live. What, Willie?
Sam Herring just wrestled on Buxton's team at Backdoors.
He was, and I asked him how he did. He went 8-0 with the flu.
Atta boy. See?
Yes.
Sam wrestles with the flu.
Why he's the official
Yeah.
middle school wrestler of FloWrestling
He is,
Radio Live.
he is the official, that's right. He is our official wrestler. He's the official middle school wrestler of FloWrestling, not just the radio show.
Yep.
Just the overarching
that is-
thing.
Crown him.
That's a fact.
We need to get him to Who's Number One, Willie. You need to set up a special VIP package for him.
All right.
Because he's probably going to wrestle in it one day.
Is
Everyone-
Ryan Anderson the official high school wrestler of FloWrestling Radio Live?
I think so. Because
He's the official high school wrestler of me.
I'm okay with it. You know what? He's an original. I think we're originals here for the most part. Daniel
both gonna
Daniel
go.
Lobdell's an original.
Me and Anderson are both gonna go to Purdue and wrestle freestyle, so we can be on Boiler Elite.
Both of y'all got some boilers. Okay, I hear the music. It's time to go. Happy Monday. I don't know if we're going to have the show again this week. I'm flying to Virginia Thursday for my hermano's graduation, so I'm not sure what's going to happen Thursday. Stay tuned on that. Thanks so much. We will see you again. That's a promise. Thanks, guys.